Hank, welcome in to the Morning Blitz.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Hey, man, let's get right into it. Let's talk a little basketball first. I know that sometimes people forget, and I'm one of them, that there's something other than football that happens on the capstone. Avery seems to be really busy with what's going on right now, and I don't fully understand the basketball game, but kind of tell us who are some of the guys that Avery is hot on right now.
Yeah, definitely. He's building something big in Tuscaloosa, kind of behind the scenes at football. So definitely a program on the rise and one to watch. A couple guys to keep an eye on. Actually, just last night, I know it kind of seems a little far off, but the staff offered a 2019 power forward, so he's going into his sophomore year of high school, named James Wiseman out of Nashville. Powerhouse program, Innsworth. He's a 6'10", 200-pound, soon-to-be sophomore. He has a couple offers other than Alabama, Tennessee, and Texas, but he's a guy the staff's really high on. I know we have him. He's projected to be likely a top 25, if not top 10 player when the rankings come out for his class. Last weekend they offered a guy named Deontay Wood. He's an in-state guy, 2018 shooting guard out of Anniston, Alabama. He averaged 21 and 12 last season. He's the Class 1A Player of the Year. So they're definitely they're working hard.
What was that kid's name from Anniston?
Yeah, Deontay Wood.
Now, is this the young man that went out to, like, I guess it's the basketball version of kind of the opening type of environment that just was not on anybody's radar and just kind of lit the place on fire?
I'm not sure about that. He did. I know he camped at Alabama recently, and they've been watching him this spring. So I mean, he's definitely he has some great film, and I know he's impressed along the way at some different camps. So I'm not sure about the overall opening camp, like you said, but he's definitely he's starting to impress and earn some offers.
All right. Any other local guys? I saw Herb Jones got a scholarship offer last night from Georgia Tech, but didn't know if Alabama was on him hot and heavy or not. Yeah, Alabama's on him. They offered it in May. They've been kind of evaluating him all spring, but Herb Jones is another good in-state guy. He's a good shooter. But yeah, Florida offered the night before Georgia Tech last night, so he's starting to get some more attention. I think he's going to let the process drag out a little bit, kind of see who else offers, see which offers he can get, and then before he makes a decision. But on our 24/7 Sports Crystal Ball on our website, he's trending to Alabama at 100%. So I know a lot of people are expecting him to end up in the class. Well, speaking to Hank South, BamaOnline.com, 24/7 Sports, recruiting analyst, basketball, football, and much more. Is Alabama in on? I know they had a couple recent visits. One of the things I've wanted to see on the capstone is a dominant big man. Are they in on any of those guys?
Yeah. So speaking of that, they just hosted a 2017 center named Luka Garza from Washington D.C. 6'10", 6'11", somewhere in there. But he came on an official visit Sunday night, stayed through yesterday morning, I believe, if not Tuesday night. But I have not spoken to him about the visit yet. I texted back and forth to his dad. I was told the visit went great. His dad was very impressed with the campus and everything they offered. He's going to be making a decision here in the next probably 2 weeks, if not sooner. So I think that Alabama's right in the mix of it, along with Louisville and Iowa. So we'll see. We're going to try to have some more reaction from him today on BamaOnline.com. But he's definitely one of the big men to watch in the 2017 class for Alabama.
That would be awesome. And if taking a visit close to your decision is any indication, Alabama really is in the mix on him. Once again, speaking to Hank South, BamaOnline.com, recruiting analyst for Bama. One guy let's make that switch over to football. One guy that is just hitting a home run, Tosh Lapoy. You guys, I think, have him ranked as the nation's top recruiter. What is it about this guy? I mean, we know what Saban does, but it's not just Saban. It's his ability to evaluate not just X's and O's guys, but guys to recruit. What is making Tosh Lapoy the recruiter that he is, and who are some of the guys he's gotten, and who are some of the guys he's in on? Yeah, definitely. When I talk to recruits that are being recruited by Coach Lapoy, it's all about the energy. They love his energy. They love his enthusiasm, what he has to say to them about the program, about what he likes about the certain player. Another big thing is, and he's a California native. You look at Najee Harris
He's the primary recruiter on Alabama commitment, and number one player in the nation, running back. A lot of the guys can just relate with him better on the West Coast. So, I mean, California is a breeding ground for high school football talent. So, that just opens a whole new gateway for Alabama to kind of put the foothold in the Golden State and get some more guys out of there. So, I mean, the energy, the relationships he can build, he can relate to guys really all over the country. He recruits on the West Coast, he recruits on the East Coast. But like I said, he got a commitment from Najee Harris, Tua Tagovailoa out in Hawaii. He's in Maryland, so that's another hotbed Alabama's been kind of hitting out for the last couple of years. But another couple guys, Dylan Moses is the primary recruiter, so he's in on IMG Academy in Florida, which everyone's familiar with that. We're all pretty much like a miniature college.
Yeah.
So Dylan Moses out there, he's in on Marvin Wilson. He's helping out on the 5-star linebacker Baron Browning out of Texas. So he's really all over the place, and he's really helping Alabama out in this cycle, and as he did last cycle as well.
Yeah, well, just with the names you just mentioned, if he gets those guys and no one else, you can't drop him in the ranking. I mean, if he gets the former number one player and the current number one player both in the same year to commit, especially when Dylan Moses is right there in LSU's backyard from Baton Rouge. So, hey, I think Nick Saban, I don't think he takes kids. When I was being recruited, there was a time when one particular school offered me a scholarship because I had a cousin that was really good, and they wanted us to come as a combo. I don't know that Nick Saban necessarily does that to get one kid or not, but there's an interesting – he offered a 2018 defensive tackle, Rick Sandage, and I saw you kind of hint that there may be more to that than just that offer. What were you meaning there?
Yeah, so, I mean, like you said, they do their evaluations. They're not just going to offer just to offer. And I know some schools do that. I don't think Alabama's one of them, like you said. But, yeah, he's a 2018 4-star defensive tackle from Concord, North Carolina. The big thing about him, I mean, talented guy. We have as a top 100 recruit. So, I mean, he deserves an offer. He has the talent. But he is teammates with a 2017 safety Alabama once named Hamza Nasirildeen from the same school. Currently, Nasirildeen is but his top two are Alabama and Florida. And it looks like Alabama sort of has the edge from who I've been talking to and what I've been hearing from his camp. So Rick and Hamza visited for A-Day, and Rick was kind of hoping for the offer then. Alabama wanted to wait just a little bit to kind of see him a little bit more. They decided to go ahead and pull the trigger. So both those guys are coming back down for camp in a couple of weeks, mid-July. So I've been saying it for a while. I'm putting him on commitment watch. I'm not saying he's going to, but I think he's a guy you just need to start watching before the end of the summer.
Wow. And of course, the loss of transfers and different things right there probably, didn't hurt us, in terms of getting him in. So maybe we can get Hampshire, and Rick is definitely excited about his offer. Speaking with HankSouthBamaOnline.com, let's move to the opening, okay? I know you were on with Travis Reier on Southern Fried Sports, and you're talking about you're going to get to go out there this time. You're going out to the mecca of tennis shoes, and I guess the mecca of college recruiting when it comes to the opening. I got a question I want to open up with, then we'll get directly to the opening. Just in your opinion, how is it that Nick Saban is convincing – how come we keep getting all of these top recruits? What is it that's making these guys know that they're coming here and going to have to wait a year, 2 years, some 3 years? What are they telling you on the recruiting trail that still makes them come when that's what the other coaches are saying against Alabama? Yeah,
it's crazy when you look at it. I mean, especially when Alabama gets two top quarterback commitments in just a few weeks apart. But, I mean, the number of top of the big things I'll hear from recruits when they're committing is just the opportunity and the exposure you have at Alabama. I mean, they're going to compete against the best. If they have ambitions of getting to the NFL, what better place than to get it started at Alabama when you're pretty much in a miniature NFL setting. The facilities, obviously, they're world class. And a lot of guys, I mean, they love, some of the top recruits say they want to kind of have an easy pass on the depth chart. A lot of guys do like the competition, and Alabama doesn't shy down to it. They'll tell top recruits they're not just going to have a position. They said they're going to have to come in and compete, and I think that impresses a lot of recruits as well as their coaches and parents. So, obviously the championships too help, and just Nick Saban and the staff they've put together and their ability to sell the program. They're doing a tremendous job.
Well, one of those guys that's going to be at the opening is Tui Tagovailoa, where, one of the top recruits, and Najee Harris and others. I think 7 Alabama recruits commits. 7 commits going to be there. Several guys that they're on that they're looking for. But for us that have never been out there and never really watched it, kind of what's the setup of what happens out there, competition? I know that there's something about team setups, and they're doing it a little different this year.
Yeah, so this is my first year actually going out to Oregon. I covered it last year kind of remotely back at home. But, so it's set up. I have 166 players that have competed all spring at different regionals across the country. They get invited to Oregon for the finals. Like you said, there's 7 Alabama commitments. There's Najee Harris, Tua Tagovailoa, going down the list right now, Darius Cowan, Markel Benton, Xavier McKinney, Tyrell Shavers. I think that was all of them. Oh, and Alex Leatherwood as well. He's a part of the offensive defensive line. But yeah, so they all go up to Oregon. The quarterbacks arrive a few days early, I think 1 or 2 days early, to do a little quarterback competition, because these guys are all coming from the Elite 11, so they're competing with everybody else, but they're kind of also competing against just the quarterbacks. Okay. So they'll have a quarterback competition, and then they have offensive defensive line competition. They do 7-on-7 with these teams. Like you said, all the Alabama commitments, they're all on one team together, so that'll be good for them to kind of meet each other and get to know each other and play with each other.
Now, is that new? Is that new where they put all of the – because to me that's huge for Alabama. You got 7 guys. Well, I think they separate the offensive linemen, so 6 guys that are kind of playing together and competing together and getting to know each other in the competition.
Yeah, I think I'm just not too sure because I've only been covering it for a couple of years. It didn't seem like it was that way last year. I can't recall off the top of my head how many commitments were there last year. But yeah, it's you look at this roster and really it's all just Alabama commitments and Oklahoma commitments. So wow. It appears they did that. And then you have a couple of top targets in Cam Akers, former commitment, and then a guy a lot of people think is going to join the class by the end of the summer is Jerry Jeudy, the 4-star receiver. So it definitely appears to be done on purpose. So yeah, that's huge. These guys can kind of mix in together and get together, do their recruiting together. So it'll be big.
Now, one more question regarding the open. Athlete 1, Athlete 2, Najee Harris, Dylan Moses. Will we get a preview of these 2 guys going head to head in terms of, because I would imagine Dylan Moses wants to reclaim his spot, so I could only imagine. And these guys are already getting that hype around, would they be drafted if they were going straight out? Not if they would play, but would a team draft them? So I cannot wait to see these guys up close and personal. But what do you think we can look for in terms of that head-to-head competition between the number 1 running back and the number 1 linebacker?
Yeah, the opening is broadcasted on ESPN or ESPN2, so it's nationally televised. So I'd imagine they'd like to kind of set that matchup up. I'm not sure in what setting they'd do it, but if they play each other on 7-on-7, I think that's definitely something to watch. But Najee, just meeting him and talking to him, he doesn't talk much, but when I have met him in the past, he's a very quiet, humble kid. He's not looking for all the hype, so I'm not sure he would be pushing for it. Dylan might be, but I don't think Najee would be devastated if he wasn't the number 1 player anymore in the country.
well, when you got it, you got it, and everything I've seen on film from Najee, from the complete back, if there's been a guy. Once again, we're speaking to Hank South, Bama Online's Hank South, 24/7 recruiting Bama analyst, recruiting analyst. Barry, I noticed Hank, on a couple of your tweets, I noticed you mentioning something about the recruiting chat. Kind of let our listeners know what that is, how they can stay connected with you guys.
Yeah, so what we're doing, it's a VIP members for BamaOnline.com. It's going to be a weekly recruiting chat. We did it yesterday on a Wednesday. I'm not sure if we'll continue to do it on Wednesdays, but it'll definitely be once a week. We did it for an hour yesterday, just had subscribers ask questions within a message board thread and answered them as we went, and then posted a recap later on. So we might extend it to a couple hours, let everyone get more questions in. But it actually went really well. We've done them in the past before, but we're trying to get it kind of kickstarted again, especially when there's not a lot going on in the summertime, and you kind of need something to occupy your time with. So, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, well, what better way than for those who follow Bama Online than for them to get in on the conversation. That's Bama Online Recruiting Chat. It's a VIP section for Bama Online. This is Hank South. He's going to be joining us each and every Thursday at 6:30. Thanks for spending a few extra minutes with me this morning, Hank, and safe travels out to Oregon. And I'm not sure if will we be calling you out there, or will you be back by next Thursday?
Thursday, I think, is going to actually be like the first full day I'm out there. But
okay,
I might be up. I don't know. We'll talk about it. It'll be 4:30 in the morning, but it might be an early wake-up call.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We'll talk and see, because that's why I was asking you that question, if you're going to be out there. Well, yeah. I appreciate it, Hank. Great information, and looking forward to catching up with you next week.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it, man.